Alright guys, you got your boy Jet Stingren here today, and today we are back with some more reverse 1999 content, and today we are uploading Tuesday Showcase on a Tuesday. I know that's incredibly cheesy, but I just thought I had a little bit of fun and do the showcase. I finally did pull her. I pulled her literally today, and ironically pulling her on a Tuesday, which is so funny, but I finally got her. I was finally able to get up enough pulls to get her stuff and got her fully raised. So we're going to talk about her, what she does, what she's about, of course, whether or not she's good or bad. And let's talk about it. I'll see you guys in just a moment. Peace. Alright, so this is Tuesday here, and we finally got her built up. She's all good to go, and this is what she's looking at right here. But if you guys don't know what Tuesday is, she is a spirit-focused debuff character that focuses around the poison archetype. And she single-handedly revived the poison archetype. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it out for you right now. If you're really looking for the reminiscent of the old days of 1.2 meta, look no further than Tuesday, who's going to turn that old meta up to 11. Because if you guys don't know, back in 1.2, poison was considerably a thing, and it was something that a lot of people tend to call a meta team because, well, it was a really good team with Jessica, who was one of the best DPSs at the time, and of course you had good units to fuel poison like Sotheby, but obviously since have since long and gone, have now been obviously crept out by other units. Tuesday is kind of here now, and she's here to actually revive that meta, and boy did she revive it in such a good way, and we'll talk about that as we break down her skills. So let's get right into it with her inheritances, her skills, cube choices, portrays, residents, all that good stuff as we usually do. So I was going to talk about her insights first, or her inheritances. So let's get right into it. When entering the battle, she gains Fierce Cradle. When entering the battle, she gains 15% Genesis damage dealt up to herself. So very simple I1, but she gets access to Fierce Cradle. Fierce Cradle is all allies can store critical hits with their poison effects. When an ally takes an action, every status down, negative status, or control status that the ally inflicts on the target has a 50% chance to inflict one instance of poison for the target on that round. And then of course, when they take the damage, they're gonna take 20% based on the user's attack stat, and this effect is undispellable. So Fierce Cradle is really good. It's a really good effect, because what this turns into for certain units in the game, they basically turn into walking poison bots. However, if you have certain other units in the game, namely Isolde for example, who happens to be one of the best uses of this type of effect, is basically everyone becomes a poison bot, which is kind of ridiculous. So what the concept is, if you use her with Isolde, since Isolde gives you the 3 stacks of exhilaration, which basically means you burn every single time you attack somebody, this effectively means that every single time that somebody attacks into something, that's a 50% chance for them to burn. Another really good character that loves to utilize this trick is Jay, because Jay has a AoE counter in Tempering, which puts up 2 stacks of burn, which basically means he's having a 50% chance per counter to poison the target, which is very good. It's actually, if you have the right Unix for Tuesday, then her poison ability becomes so much more valuable. Even on her own terms, like her own skills and everything, she puts up a lot of stacks. But if you weren't really looking for Tuesday to just do it, and you kind of just like, well, I want the quickest way possible to put up the maximum stacks, look no further than running her with another unit that can also help utilizing the effect of Fierce Cradle. The problem is with Fierce Cradle by itself is that not a lot of units, especially our DPSs, so to speak, don't have built-in debuffs in them. There's some that do, for example, but not a lot of units really can do this, right? But with other units that can support the team that can provide effects like this, then it becomes so much better. Like a unit I can think of at the top of my head that could probably do this is someone like, Spahothea, because she can burn on attack too. I think Marcus, because she's putting up the annotate status, also I believe can do it as well. I could be wrong about that, but don't quote me on that one. But yeah, like it's just so long as they're able to put up a debuff on something, then 100% it's going to be one of those buffs that actually works out just fine. So that is going to be a really, really good thing there. So there's that. Insight 2 is just 5% attack up, which is, again, just very good. That helps with her scaling for Genesis damage, so pretty good. Insight 3 is when entering a battle, she gains the room service effect. And when entering the battle, she gains Moxie +2 to self, which triggers only one time. This is, again, a really good buff because most of what Tuesday wants to do when it comes to poison revolves around her ult because of what it ends up doing for poison. But this allows her to have a really, really good cool effect in room service. Room service basically allows for you to have excess Moxie, as you can see right here on the screen. Excess Moxie is temporarily stored. At the end of the round, character store Moxie is used to replenish their own Moxie if able. Each character stores up to 5 points of Moxie, which is again undispellable. Now this is really, really cool because what this basically means is this allows for a few interesting setups, right? This allows for characters who traditionally don't like to ult to be able to ult a little bit more freely. For example, someone like Kakania, right? You don't ult with Kakania as soon as you get her ult available. You wait till she has full empathy stacks so that you can then pop the ult for the strongest amount of possible that you can gain with having her empathy, which is what you traditionally want to do with her. You don't wait till she gets the 5 Moxie, then you go boom bam, you know? This at least means that when you ult with Kakania, you do get that, you don't really waste any Moxie because you're just getting that access back from room service, which is again really nice. Another good thing that this really sets up is for characters who tend to buff before ult. Tuesday is one of these characters because you want to, of course, make sure that there's a lot of poison on the boss, so that way it can deal a little bit more stronger damage. And characters like Vila, for example, who tends to pass off a song, then pop ult, which is something that also works. You have characters like, again, I mentioned earlier, Spahothia, who traditionally buffs on every single action before committing to her own action, which of course means they effectively get a Moxie +1 back. Vila's a little bit better at it because since she's in her unique status, she can generate that card, which can give you Moxie +1 and Eureka +1, which you can simply just use it on her to give her the Moxie, not providing that the fact of any time that you may need to heal or any time that you may need to replenish the song, which you will need to do because since it doesn't have a long-term duration. So again, I do think room service is really, really good. It's really, really nice to have the ability to kind of control your Moxie and to have more fun ways to utilize it in effects that you would like to use it in. So, pretty nice. So let's go and talk about her skills. So first things first, her first skill is going to be called the Horror's Delight, which is a one target attack that deals up to 455% mental damage and inflicts 2 instances of poison on the target for 2 rounds. And at the end of the round, deals, based off the user's attack, 20% of Genesis damage to the target, and then inflicts the same instance of poison to the target. It inflicts the same instance of poison to another random legal target if able, repeating up to 4 times. If used on one skill, it's just 2, and then this is 3, this is 4. So 2 to 4 is going to be the amount of times that this can spread. Now, let me tell you why this is really good. Basically, this just means that she has a very, very easy way to spread poison without having to really commit to anything crazy. It's basically just going to put up the 2 instances of poison, then it's going to spread off into someone else, which basically makes it an effective AoE poison, which is, again, very, very, very solid. So, again, solid skill, decent numbers, there's that. Next up is going to be her other skill, which is called In Mother's Arms. It's a mass debuff that allows the targeted enemies to take up to 35% more Genesis damage, which is pretty cool, and inflicts critical resist rate minus 20%. It's going to be 20% because 99% of the time they're going to be in poison on the in the poison status for all enemies for 2 rounds. Now, you will be seeing this Genesis damage effect taken up pretty consistently, to be honest. It's also really good that she has access to a Genesis damage debuff because I think she's the first character to introduce this from what I remember. So back then she would have been a really, really great asset for other characters who did Genesis damage, cough cough 37. But 9 times out of 10 though, you won't really be utilizing this debuff that much. You'll still put it up just to obviously have the effect and have the ticks of poison do its thing. But really the big bulk of damage is going to really start coming in once you pop the ult. Alright, and the ult is, well, please, come on in. I like it. It is a massive attack that deals 225 mental damage to all enemies, inflicts 1 instance of poison for 2 rounds on the target's hit. At the end of the round, of course, it does Genesis damage, and then an additional round of instances up to 30% of the attack damage that can critically hit at the same time. And then she inflicts the array field Horror Story Night. Horror Story Night is poison effects on enemies do not decrease in duration on resolve. So basically, at the end of the round, they won't go down. If you flip 1 stack and it's for 2 turns, it won't go down so long as the array field is active. And at the start of the enemy's round, resolve 1 round of poison effects. After the array is replaced, or immediately replace resolve poison on all enemies. So basically, what this does with her array field is it basically makes a big poison nuke at the end of your array field. So once your array ends, or you put up a new one, then it's going to be a big poison attack that's going to deal a lot of damage to the enemies, and it's going to, of course, be scaling out the fact of the total amount of poisons that you can stack. Also, a really good thing about this is that you don't necessarily have to have full poison at the time of casting your ult. You can still put up more stacks at the end of it all, and then once it's resolved, all of those poisons will individually take off, and then you'll just see a big burst of damage that comes in from the resolution of all those poisons is being held up. So it's really cool, really nice damage. And that's going to talk about her cube. So let's talk about her cube choices. Her first one is going to be her, obviously, her main cube, because it gives her poison damage, it gives her crit rate. Again, it's her own cube. I don't think I really need to explain too much about that. Like 99% of the character that comes out with their cube wants their own cube. So because it's usually tailor made for the other character, well, for the character in question. So obviously you want to get her own cube, raise it up if you can. If you don't have the ability to raise up your cube, another good alternative is actually Blabshimmer. Blabshimmer is pretty good because you will have the consistent 24% damage up because you're putting up so many stacks of poison anyway. Literally any just 1 caster per attack, you're going to have 2 stacks of poison to get 24% damage dealt up, or 12% if it's at I1. So again, pretty easy choices. You just want either Blam or you want her own cube. Her own cube is of course best in slot. Let's go and talk about Portrays. So, please come on in, which is the ultimate. The instances of poison is increased to 2, and the increased damage bonus effect now goes 50% of her attack plus the number of instances of poison, which is really good. Of course, P1, pretty solid. P2, at incantations 1, 2, and 3, the Genesis damage is now 30, 40 to 50%, which is pretty massive. And the critical rate is now 30% to the target in the poison status. P3 is the number of poison instances is increased to 3, which is again strong, and the additional Genesis damage is up to 70% of her own attack stat times the number of instances. So pretty good. 4% at your own service. Genesis damage though is now increased to 35%. Doesn't change the crit rate debuff though. And at P5, at incantation 1, the Horror's Delight is changed, so it's 1, 2, 3. It becomes 210, 310 to 535, and inflicts 1 instance of poison on the same. Well, it inflicts 1 instance of the same poison on a random legal enemy if able. I don't know why I couldn't read that there, and it repeats up to 3, 4 to 5 times. So pretty strong stuff there. If you want my honest recommendation, I didn't mean to ask that there. But if you want my honest recommendation, P1's a good place to stop, just for the extra instance of damage for her ticks for poison. But that's all you really need. I think P1's a good place to stop. If you really want to go like a budget route, or you're not trying to pull for P5 or nothing crazy, P1's a pretty good stopping point for you. But again, as always, as I say this in every single video, P0 is 100% usable, and is 100% worth to just keep her at P0. But if you want to push it a little bit further, then you can go to P1. Let's go and talk about her resonance pattern. This is what I'm going to be running on her. Just kind of an attack, a little bit mix of crit pieces in here. Just mostly attack and crit. That's mostly what I'm running. I did choose the resonance pattern for her. I went with Genuity. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. You can also go Eludication if you want to, because it gives you ultimate might, which of course can help with her ult. You do choose you do usually use Jen because of her main skill being the single target incantation, which you wanted to do a little bit extra damage. But the key things here is just the penetration rate and the damage bonus. That's really just the key things here. So you can either go here or here because it gives you the same amount. It gives you both 6% in damage bonus and pen rate. So that's really just it. You know, you either choose wanting extra ultimate might or you want extra incantation might. I think those are generally her better choices when it comes to resonance. And yeah, but long story short, as I've explained before, Tuesday is an incredibly solid unit. She is going to be a unit that's going to get continuously better as time goes on because there's going to be more and more new units that's going to help propel this metagame to a newer level. We're going to get new things like Sotheby's Euphoria, which makes her a best in slot partner for Tuesday. We're going to get new poison DPSs like Willow, which of course obviously works very, very well with Tuesday because, you know, obvious reason, because she's poison. I mean, but yeah. But other than that, I've talked on long enough. I'm going to get over to the showcase portion of the video, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Peace. Alright, so we're here to showcase Tuesday and how we're going to just basically annihilate the enemy with 10,000 stacks of poison. This is going to be the team we're going to be running here today. We are running Tuesday, of course, for her own, obviously, effect. Let's go and take a look at her stats really quick. And then we're going to be running Jay. Jay is going to be our main source to spread that poison due to counters, which is going to be very, very good. We have Isolde, which is going to also provide us with extra damage and all the support there. And it's also going to allow for Kakania to occasionally put up stacks of poison if she wants to. Because Kakania is just going to be the sustain of the team. Let's get right into it. Alright. So we'll go ahead and start with doing Tuesday stuff first. We'll just go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and set up his effect. And then actually, we'll buff Jay. Because we want to have a little bit more attack. Just so we can put up a little bit of a stronger shield. Here we go. So as you can see, look at that. That's like 5 stacks of poison and a single attack off on one enemy. Like, kind of crazy, kind of crazy. So they didn't do any offensive damage. You see all that ticking just went off. It's that poison. That's that poison. All right, so we can do the Horror's Delight, and then we can just kind of have Isolde kind of do her thing, and I'll just kind of save this for now.
It's for your safety.
More poison. They're really giving us a lot of Horror Delights cards, which I like. Okay, boom. And as you can see, that poison is just ticking like crazy. Anyway, as you can see, there's like all these different poisons here that's just kind of going off, which is absolutely insane. Alright, so we're going to again just buff Jay just to have a little bit extra damage. Actually, we don't have his shield, so we're gonna have to reroll for that actually. Let's go ahead and do this to just pre-buff ourselves. We'll J to get up our shield. We'll pop the array field, and we will just do a little bit of extra spreading with Isolde.
A real troublemaker of a guest, aren't you?
My forge, my rules.
Knock, knock. Room service.
You see, it just did all that chunk of damage because, yeah. It's a lot of matching cards. We like those. I kind of wish I got another Isolde card. I might even need the Isolde card. But I think I'll go for double Isolde this turn. Alright, okay, cool, we got it. So we'll do this, We will again buff J. And I guess we will we'll do this just so we can kind of accelerate some Moxie to Tuesday. I mean, it's gonna be fairly over relatively soon.
You're waking.
Yeah. All right, so now we're just gonna let Tuesday kind of finish. I mean, not Tuesday. We're gonna let Jay kind of finish them off. So we'll do this to buff just to be safe. This, and we'll just do Tuesday stuff just to do Tuesday stuff.
Why'd you fall till every night? Why'd you fall till every night?
Dude, I love this Isolde ult. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, it was well worth to buy that skin. Not gonna hold you, bruh. Not gonna hold you. Now, you did kind of just see what the team was about. This wasn't really the best showing because Limbo's kind of relatively quick. I will be doing a clear tomorrow of the raid using this exact same team and Darkness of the Abyss, because that's actually going to be a really, really good way for you to kind of see just how much damage the poison team can potentially deal. So that's really going to be what I'm going to be doing there. But for the main time, of course, we just do Limbo because obviously this is going to be combined up with all the other stuff I talked about earlier. But anyway, this has been your boy Jesting. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.